Don't do what every other product listing does. Don't come at it from the brand point of view. What features and benefits do we want to push? Come at it from a consumer point of view. We download all of the testimonials from our clients, also do that from our competition. We apply behavioral psychology lens over those testimonials, and we take a deep dive. Why are they buying this product? Is it for an emotional reason or a rational reason? What is the problem that they're trying to solve? Once you kind of got that data, you've understood the consumer so that you can use your actual images to connect with the options of the shopper, always to come at the product detail page from a customer point of view, speak using their language, whether it's testimonial language, and really drill right down into what's the problem, what's the solution, what alternatives have they tried in the past. Use only those messages in your gallery images.
Did you know there was a way to get more profitable ads without having to change your ads strategy? If you know how to do it correctly, and it has to do with making sure that you're improving the conversion rate of your product pages, which I'm so excited to get in this topic today because obviously ad conversion rate is a huge factor of performance. And here to help share her knowledge with us, we have Emma Bagley, who is the CEO and founder of Zeal Agency. Welcome. I appreciate you coming in to share your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm excited to talk about this. This is one of my favorite topics on Amazon. So yeah, excited to dig in.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for data-driven strategy, and a huge part of that data is the conversion rate. So I'm excited to hear your tips and your recommendations for how we can improve that to, again, boost our ad performance as well as profitability, which that's big on everyone's minds today. But before we dig into that, do you want to give a really quick backstory to yourself and how you got into this?
Yeah, so my background is marketing, got into the Amazon world long time ago now. I run an Amazon agency in the UK. We support brands in the UK, US and Europe. And what we were finding with clients is the agencies that have perhaps worked with in the past are really super good at PPC. You know, they've got SEO down, but they didn't have this kind of client-centric, brand-centric agency partner. So that's where kind of we are very much focused, differentiating ourselves from the other agencies, especially in the UK, about how can we work and look at all of your data, work with your wider marketing team to make sure that, yes, of course, you've got fantastic PPC, you've got your SEO, everything's kind of like as standard, but then how can you supercharge your Amazon sales through effective marketing on your product detail page? And that kind of comes not just from good creatives or good copy, it's really understanding the brand, understanding your customers, and working very much really with the brand as a partner so that we create copy and creative that converts and ultimately get a better return on investment on Amazon in general, and of course on your PPC.
Awesome. I love it. So do you want to walk me through the strategy? Because I'm sure there's a lot of brands out there, sellers out there like, okay, I know my ads can be improved. I know it's a conversion rate thing. How does one go through? And it sounds like you're like, hey, it's not like listing optimization. It's conversion optimization. So how do you improve that?
Yeah. Okay. So there's some things that are completely outside of an agency's control, like mine, like, for example, the core product or
Right.
the pricing or, the fulfillment channel. But what we can actually do is how can we connect better with customers that land on our page so that they add to cart? So, as I've mentioned, PPC can drive super relevant traffic to the listing. And I'm not going to talk here today about click-through rates and how you can optimize your main hero image for click-through rate. But let's assume that amazing quality traffic has come in from either your organic or your paid strategies, lands on your product detail page. Now, as we all know, Amazon is getting so super competitive. There's so many products that are pretty much the same or are saying the same messages. So how do you get your product to stand out? We're in a marketplace, we're not on a D2C site. So what we've found is, and I suppose the top tip is to really understand how to be different on that product detail page. And what we do is, I suppose it's quite unique in that every image stack, let's take the image stack as an example. Every image stack is the same. It's like, your features, your benefits, lifestyle shot. You might have some accolades or a little bit of kind of a dimensions image. It's the same as every single other product detail page. How do you stand out, tell your story, connect with your consumers, be relevant, resonate, and get people to purchase? So what we do, and what any brand can do out there, is come at it from a consumer point of view. Why should I buy your product? Don't come at it from the brand point of view in like, what features and benefits do we want to push? Come at it from a consumer point of view. So what we do is we download all of the testimonials from our clients' product detail page. We also do that from our competition as well. And if you've got time, I'd recommend downloading those testimonials as well from your D2C site as well. And then what we do, we've built a custom ChatGPT to help us with this. We apply behavioral psychology lens over those testimonials, and we take a deep dive into, okay, why have people purchased our product in the past? What are the core motivators? What problems are they trying to solve? What are the kind of like transformation? What's the outcome they're trying to achieve? And what solutions have they possibly tried in the past? Once you kind of got that data, you've understood the consumer. You can talk in that language of a consumer. You can focus your creative and your copy on the problems and the solutions, so that you can use those, how do I explain it, through your actual images, like the images, to connect with the emotions of the shopper, and using the text, whether it's in the text over the images or in your product detail page, to speak directly to that consumer. Why are they buying this product? Is it for an emotional reason or a rational reason? What is the problem that they're trying to solve? What solutions have they tried in the past? And how do they want to see their world having bought a product that solves that problem? So I suppose my top tip is always to come at the product detail page from a customer point of view, speak using their language, whether it's testimonial language, and really drill right down into what's the problem, what's the solution, what alternatives have they tried in the past, and you use only those messages in your gallery images, in your A+ content, and tell that story, so that when a shopper lands on your product detail page, there's a hook, it's a problem, resonate with that, use the imagery to resonate with the shopper, talk their language, and provide a solution in those image stack. Don't do what every other product listing does. Tell the story. Use those 6 images to get a hook, position, what's the problem, what's the solution, what's the outcome, what's the social proof. So I suppose my top tip is come at it from a shopper's point of view. When they page, what do they want to see?
I love that. Yeah, because I think there's so many really good general marketing strategies, which it sounds like, I mean, like you said, you came from a marketing background. So there's a lot of those tried and true principles that for some reason, those of us like in the Amazon centric, like we're in this little ecosphere that we always, it's like, it seems like there's these principles that have stand the test of time because they're based on human psychology. And let's be honest, robots are not buying from robots at this point. Eventually, who knows what the world's going to look like, but it's still very much, we're speaking to humans. And so you're saying, okay, so we need to focus on the human, because yes, do we need to focus on SEO and like the indexing and all of that? But when it comes to the images, yes, we have, everyone's getting on Rufus and scanning. Yes, does it happen? It's still a human shopping the listing. And so you're saying you need to get into their mind. And I love this. So I would love to dig in here a little bit tactically if you're okay with that. So it sounds like you're saying, okay, a huge part of identifying this behavior psychology is the ratings that are, like your reviews. What do people like? What do people don't like? Pain points. And then when it comes in, then sounds like you're also going and downloading reviews from some of the top competitors, which is like fantastic. I love it. When you go and you find those other products to download the reviews from, are you looking at best sellers? Are you looking at relevant products? And maybe like how many different competitors are you pulling from?
So what I like to do is firstly identify the closest competitors and the slightly aspirational competitors. We don't want to have too much data that we get blinded in data. And, especially you've got to be very careful as well if you're looking at competitors that are at different price points, because you tend to attract different kind of customers as well to those different price point products. So I would say, 3 or 4. So close competitors, slightly aspirational. And obviously those product detail pages that have got reviews. And if you feel that when you've run through that testimonial analysis, there isn't enough data, go and analyze another competitors. That's absolutely fine. And I would recommend looking at Amazon reviews, but also, I mean, there's so many different softwares out there to scrape reviews from their D2C sites as well, because you're tapping in to your customer base as well as your potential customer base, and you need to get into that mindset. What is driving that sale? Why? Constantly drilling down to that core message. Why are they buying? And therefore you can speak directly to them to get them to buy from you.
No, I love it. I love it. And so obviously you guys have been doing this a while. You have the whole marketing background, which gives you guys like a really deep insight of maybe how to ask questions based on customer psychology. And you have, like you said, you have your whole custom internal AIs and things that you're building as a team. But for somebody who didn't have access to that, I'm assuming, would it just start with using an AI? Like, do you recommend, say, ChatGPT or Claude? Is there a specific AI that you would recommend? And then what kind of questions are you asking?
Yeah, so simple way of doing this is, I mean, I use Helium 10 to download the testimonials. So you can only upload like a maximum of 300, get that onto a nice spreadsheet, upload that onto ChatGPT and ask the question, analyze these testimonials, give me the top 5 reasons they're buying this product, or what are the top 5 uses. For example, we're working with a pet brand at the moment and a pet stain remover brand. So what is the biggest problem here? Is it dog urine? Is it cat urine? Is it fox poo? What is it that people are buying? And then that can give you clues as to what imagery to use, for example, or what the biggest pain points. If it's dog week, focus your majority creative on dogs, for example. Or if it's dogs, cats, rabbits, make sure that that's collectively within your imagery. So just ask those questions. What are the biggest pain points? What solutions have customers tried before? What is the desired outcome? ChatGPT is amazing for this kind of analysis. And if you don't kind of get the answer that you're looking for, just ask it again. I am designing 6 Amazon gallery images. Give me some copy and creative that would speak to this target audience. Is so clever right now. Obviously, you've still kind of we use the principles of advertising, the main frameworks of advertising within that. So, AIDA model or the problem agitate solution kind of model. So there's different frameworks that you can apply. But if you're new to this, just go to BT, give them the testimonials and say, write me 6 gallery images, please, for this product. Brief it in, and you will be really delighted with what ChatGPT can bring out from that. And then use your designer. I'm all for saying don't use Canva. Sorry, those people that love Canva. It's not about pretty pictures. It's about even if we're going back to the dog example, using dogs that are relatable to your target audience. It's every single detail of that gallery image, that it isn't just a pretty picture from Canva with some nice text overlay. That's not going to cut it, especially in the competitive marketplace of the US. It has to be more thoughtfully put together. So we use proper graphic designers, not to disrespect anybody.
The other thing that we've found, just kind of looking at images, like we've seen images where just objectively looking at it, you would say, oh, that is a really beautiful design. There is design, and then there's conversion rate optimization when it comes to listings. And you definitely, like, it sounds like you're using AI to really dig out those conversion rate aspects. So it's not just saying like it needs to look nice. Obviously, you can't look. There's something to be said for like premium images that definitely screams quality, but you definitely want to pull that out. And I love that having a conversation because I think in my experience using AI, it's not always the first question you ask it. It's typically like the 3rd and 4th and 5th that really like digs into it. Do you have any like strategic ways of like digging into it after you ask the first question? Like, hey, I need you to evaluate this. Do you ask follow-up questions, or do you just have like your specific questions you outline, or have you found any tips there?
Well, because we've developed our own kind of, so it's a bit difficult to answer that completely. But what I would say is decide as an agency or as a brand, as an agency, what you want your kind of 6 key messages to be. So 1, problem, solution, transformation, size, dimensions. Brief in your product, briefing like all about your product, and then what you've learned from the testimonials, and then just ask ChatGPT what it would come up with first of all, and then dig deeper and say, well, our competitors are doing this. I like this about the competitors, and just keep evolving, having these conversations. Like you say, ChatGPT first time round is never going to give you the answer.
Right.
I also very much kind of just keep prodding it, saying, we want these images to be conversion rate optimized. You know, these are the biggest problems that our customers are wanting a solution for. At the moment, you know, we've found that, you know, in terms of most people buy through emotions and then justify their decision through, you know, rational behaviors. What are the key emotional motivators for buying this product? Is it joy? Is it safety? Is it security? Is it status? And just keep reminding ChatGPT, what mindset is that shopper in? What are the key problems experiencing, their key frustrations? And yeah, you'll be surprised. ChatGPT is amazing. A+ content. A+ content is a bit more tricky to work with on ChatGPT, but you can evolve. You can evolve it, but it does take a lot more work when you're looking at the
yeah, I can imagine, because it's a little bit more continuous. Because I want to pull out some of the key concepts you said that I think are fantastic points. One being which you have 6 images, so it's almost like you have 6. Yes, do they need to flow together? But honestly, if it's the same product, they should have that in common and flow. So you're saying, think of it like 6 key insights, points, like succinct ideas that you're pulling out, which I think is a fantastic way to frame that. And then the other thing that you are pulling out is, yes, ChatGPT can tend to go a little bit broad, which is fantastic. It's great for, you know, creative ideation, but almost like keep bringing it back. Okay, so what's the biggest? What is the most? What is the, you know, most common, largest, like that, and or ask it to like rank these in order of, you know, greatest to least, or that kind of just real, okay, help me surface to the top the biggest concepts.
Absolutely. And it will depend as well if your product is a product at launch or product at maturity as well. You can kind of feed that background into the brand as well, into ChatGPT. So I would give it a full brief about the product and about the brand, explain, is it a startup? Is it a launch brand? You know, who are the core competitors as well? So I would go into ChatGPT with a brief, but it's
and do you start that in like the original prompt, like would you brief and then say, okay, so here's some reviews, or do you put the brief plus reviews, or have you found a better workflow for that?
Again, ours is customized, but I would brief. I am an Amazon agency, and this is my product. This is the brand. I want to create 6 gallery images, and I'm going to feed you my testimonials, upload testimonials.
I love it. And then you work through the concepts. Awesome. So it sounds like you're using it, and at the end of this goal is to have 6 key concepts and outputs with at least a basic idea of probably the text, maybe some ideas on the images.
Yeah.
Then it gets thrown over to the creative design. So it's not like we're saying, hey, ChatGPT, start to fit. I know there's some people right now are playing around with the images in ChatGPT, which, I mean, maybe for ideas, but I would agree with you. Like, definitely end is like some sort of, like you said, almost like creative brief or outline that you then give to the designer to say, okay, now I want somebody who is, again, very good, very qualified, probably not somebody who just, I'm not saying you can't find good people on Fiverr. There are some, but you got to pick through them and you got to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So probably someone good, and then just say, all right, I need you to then, you know, create me these designs and go from there.
Because it's not pretty pictures that sells. It really is. Do those images, for example, do they have dogs that, you know, with the UK versus US? I'm actually working with a US pet brand. They're in the UK, and they were using US. I know we're just, you know, not that far away, English speaking. The dogs that you tend to have in the US are very different to the dogs that we have in the UK. So it's that you have to come at everything with a marketing, brand, product lens, is my personal opinion. But ChatGPT can really help you, because you can dive into those testimonials. What dogs were mentioned in these reviews? You can ask those questions. Was it a Dachshund? Was it a Border Collie? Was it a Golden Retriever? Which ones were mentioned the most? So you can get so much insight.
I love it. I love it. This has been amazing and super tactical and involves AI, which I know is like top of mind for everybody now, which is awesome. I really, really appreciate you breaking that down and sharing yours with us today. So with that, if someone was like, oh my gosh, that sounds Fantastic. Would love to work with you to, help improve ads, but then also make sure that I'm really focusing in on that conversion rate and really focusing in on what it is that my consumer and shopper psychology is. Where can someone reach out to you?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn, Emma Bagley, or on my website, zealagency.co.uk. I would just leave your listeners as well with one top tip as well, is work with, if your brand is using Meta ads, look at what is converting well on Meta. Now, often converts well on Amazon as well.
I love that. I love that parting tip, which is amazing. So we'll definitely put all those links in the description. And again, I really appreciate you coming on
Thank
and
you.
sharing with the audience. It's been
Thank you.
fantastic.